Are you struggling to lose weight even though you're eating less? In one of these huge calorie deficit mistakes that could be erasing all of your progress. Hey everyone, me Chris from Body No More Fitness Coach. And today we're going to talk about the most common mistakes that people make when trying to establish a calorie deficit here. Now, as you know, weight loss is mostly going to be about calories in. In some sort of way, in order to achieve that weight loss, you're going to have to create what they call a calorie deficit. Which a calorie deficit is when you are burning more calories than you are taking in through, of course, eating or drinking. Sometimes it's also drinking. So you have two ways of creating a calorie deficit. You can either exercise more or you can eat less. So and there's different ways you can make this happen. One of those two things are going to happen to either help you get weight loss or help you continue to get weight loss. Starting with number one, drastic cutting too many calories too fast. So most people think of weight loss as just a simple mathematic equation. So if 500 calories per week will give you 1 pound, 1,500 calories will give you 3 pounds per week. And the problem with that is weight loss, the body is just not a simple math equation. It has processes and things that it does or that it has to make sure that it can get what it needs or it runs optimally, because the body is designed to survive. It doesn't care too much about how you look in a bikini, how you look with your shirt off, and things like that. So the body thinks it's fighting for survival. It's not just about simple fat loss or muscle loss and stuff like that. So one of the things it does is called metabolic adaptation. So the body will adjust to the big calorie deficit that you're putting it through, the small amounts of calories that you're giving it, by slowing down the rate in which it burns calories. Okay, so it's basically correcting for that calories in versus calories out thing by making you burn less calories and therefore making it easier to hold on to weight. It's also about holding on to muscle. See, 70% of your basal metabolic rate. So if the body, I'm just sitting here right now, even though I'm talking, with very little movement, pulling out. Okay, that would be basal metabolic rate. I'm not moving around. I'm not doing anything. So 70% of your basal metabolic rate. The muscle could be costly to the body just for that reason. So if you're cutting calories drastically and not pay attention to your protein intake and not resistance training to make sure your body has a need to hold on to muscle, that's one of the things it will do. And by losing that muscle, your metabolic rate also slows down. So if that metabolic rate slows down, you burn less calories and weight loss becomes more difficult. Again, it's messing with that calories in versus calories out thing. Your body also has other processes to get you back in. So it's not just about slowing it down, but it also can do things to help you, make you eat. It can ramp up hormones that make you feel like you're hungry or create hunger. Turn down hormones that control appetite. So when you do eat, you will eat too much, or you're more likely to eat too much or overeat and sabotage your own fat loss efforts in the long run. And there's also nutrient deficiencies. So nutrient deficiencies, a lot of nutrients that the body uses to perform its tasks and the chemical processes and everything else that you need to function well and be happy. Okay. If you eat too big calorie deficit, it's hard for you to get enough nutrients in to help the body do what it does, which again messes up the processes. So instead, you're going to want to start with a smaller, maybe instead of trying to go 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 calories, simple math, start smaller calorie deficits. Make sure that you're not alarming the body or making the body feel that it has to protect itself. Now, mind you, not everyone has the same capacity to handle a calorie deficit. There'll be studies that will show that people who are leaner, people who are smaller, should have smaller calorie deficits, somewhere about 10, 15, versus anywhere from 20 to 30 with those who are obese. And this is another reason why getting your body fat is important. Okay, because you find out where you sit with your weight, but also find out where you sit with your body fat. And then also, when you have a calorie deficit, you can look at your lean body mass and see if you're losing weight so fast that it's also eating up your muscle. But anyway, started with modest calorie deficits depending on your situation, and understand that you're not going to be able to transform your body. If you're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight, you probably won't be able to transform that body. Weight loss, have a form of weight loss transformation with your body within 90 days. It might make you more time. Remember, fat loss usually averages out at 1 to 2 pounds per week. Next biggest mistake, inaccurate tracking or problems with tracking food intake, failing to properly track your food intake. And where this becomes a problem is a lot of people think they can eyeball portion, and this is this many calories, that many calories. And there was a big push among the women for intuitive eating. All of these were big mistakes because the people that can properly eyeball or hold a portion in their hands and be pretty close, they usually have had lots of practice, like years and years and years of tracking and stuff like that. And so even remember, in most cases, most people are having 10, 20, 30% calorie deficits. Okay, so those small chances that you are being off over and over and over can magnify. I do an exercise with clients where they would guess the weight of a portion, and you have to be within 20%. Okay, because again, if your deficit is 20%, you're off by 20%. That's erasing your calorie deficit, right? That can be erasing your calorie deficit right there when you repeat it over and over. So you want to get a food scale, you want to get measuring cups, and you want to and an app, to properly track all your nutrients. And even if you go to restaurants, you want to be looking at portion sizes and things like that there, because if you want to make sure you're winning and you want to make sure you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to need to have accurate information. So you need to measure your foods. You're going to have to make sure that if you're doing a measurement with rice, whatever you have that's assumed, whatever the state that the food is being tracked in. So like what I'm trying to say is if I do a measurement for rice, the measurement is for rice cooked, okay, and you try to say that, okay, this rice dry is going to be the same, so I can eat this much rice, and you measure it off the dry. So if it's for 1 cup of rice cooked, and you just try to cook a cup of rice in there before cooking and throw it, that's going to multiply to be 3 cups of rice. Your calories are going to be way off. Again, that would mess up your calorie deficit. So you want to get a food scale, if you want to get apps to track this stuff in, have your macros in there so you know where you stand in macros, and measuring cups and stuff like that. And then you also want to measure everything. So I had a client years ago, and she drank coffees that were 700 calories, and she was wondering why she wasn't losing weight at the rate that she thought she was losing weight, but she thought she should have been losing 3-4 pounds a week, but she was unwilling to give up the coffees, not even take the smaller size, but would cut the calories in half and help her calories. So you have to be weighing and measuring. The eyeballing isn't going to work. The intuitive thing isn't going to work, because most people with high body fat, the intuitive stuff is what got them in trouble in the first. Error number 3. Lack of protein intake. Okay, so people just associate protein intake with muscle gain and muscle building and stuff like that. So they only focus on the total calories. And now you hear me say it again, macros make you look good. Calories drive the results. So you need the calorie deficit to make sure you get the weight loss. But then, for example, the protein intake helps you hold on to muscle. The protein intake adds to satiety, so that you feel fuller longer. The protein intake helps you recover from your workout so you can train harder And thereby, if you're training harder, you're burning more calories to help your weight loss. There's other things like the protein has a higher thermic effect. So you can put a lot on this. It's a very small amount. The thermic effect of food is only like 10-15%, but it does contribute to the overall picture. So basically, to break down protein into energy, you expend energy. Whereas to break down carbs or fats and energy, you don't put in much or expend much. So you want to prioritize your protein intake. If you're someone who has high body fat or fit into the beast calorie and you have a high BMI, so let's say BMI says you're at least overweight and your body fat says obese or near, you can go as low as your lean body mass in grams of protein to start with. That would be if you were 200 pounds with 30% body fat, your lean body mass is 170. That would be the start for your grams of protein. But if you are, healthier weight or you're closer to ideal or goal weight, you want to start at a gram per pound. That gram per pound has advantages as far as helping you recover, keeping you full, for your weight loss. Prioritize your protein intake and make sure, you're getting good sources of protein that are complete with essential. Ignoring fiber and other nutrients is a big deal because, of course, like I mentioned earlier, you need these nutrients. You need nutrients to make your body go. Fiber is also great for satiety and controlling your appetite. It controls your cholesterol levels. It helps control your blood sugar levels and things like that. Fiber is great for a great number of reasons. So you want to make sure that you have fiber as well as those other nutrients. So you want to make sure you're getting whole, unprocessed, as many whole, unprocessed grains and foods in there. Fruit. Usually, if you choose fruit with a lower glycemic index, so like strawberries or oranges versus bananas, stuff like that, that helps you control your blood sugar levels because it's also higher in fiber. Okay, this would be error number 4 is you're basing progress or what your goal off of incomplete data. Okay, so a lot of us are using apps and things like that to gauge how many calories we're burning and stuff like that. So with the technology, so a lot of the times the tech is off. With the tech being off, you're expecting these huge calorie burns and things like that because, like let's say you're doing, you are jump roping, right? But people who are jump roping, they're jump roping at one intensity that's very high, and you are at an intensity that's very low. Now, not that jump roping is bad. Jump roping is great. It's hard to find an activity that burns more calories than jump roping, but people or apps will just gauge that you're doing that activity, so they'll give you a high calorie burn. So you'll try to play this calorie burn game with your fat loss instead of just doing the work, going hard, and trying to go as hard as you can, safely, and just letting the cards fall where they may. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal as far as your weight loss there. That's a key mistake. Error number 5, and this is also a big one because you hear things of people having cheat meals and cheat days and things like that, and sometimes people think that they can have them way too often. Okay, or instead of having a cheat meal, they have a cheat day, and it messes their progress. So the cheat meal refeed strategy erase all of your progress. Fat loss, weight loss is a calories in, calories out sort of game. So if you just end up binging and eating 5,000 calories in one day, you may eat that you have created in the other 6 days or 7 days. Or some people just believe, okay, well, I ate 5 good meals today. Meal 6, I can eat what I want. Okay, and that's again, you can that one meal can erase the deficit that you created with all the other meals. You have to have a 90% compliance. 1 out of 6 is not enough. 1 out of 6, if you go haywire, is not enough to make sure that you get your weight loss, or to make sure that you're not erasing your deficit. You'll probably need to go a couple days or 3 days at least before adding that strategy. Last but definitely not least, and this is the most important here because actually let's attack failing to get your body fat tested. This is another big for people because they don't want to face that music. They don't want to look at themselves in the mirror, knowing that body fat number, how much fat they have, as opposed to how much muscle they carry at that weight. Another thing, because you can accurately and safely set your calorie intake and create your macro program once you get your body fat in your body. The body fat and the lean body, particularly lean body mass, again, is being so much of your metabolism, 70% of your metabolism. It's one of the ways it sets apart how you're different from everybody else. Everybody at 170 pounds doesn't have the same body fat or the same lean body mass. That's something that could be a feather in your cap there, as far as accurately getting your calories right. If you have lower lean body mass, so again, you guys know I'm against bioimpedance here. I'm not. I don't like that as a body fat label. I had 2 clients, and you're looking at them, and the bioimpedance machine is saying they're the same, or they're within 3% of body fat, and you looking at them, no, there's absolutely no way they're within 10%. So I ran my body fat test on them. Person 2 was at least 10% higher than person 1. So where the problem lies for person 2 is, if you use the equations for calories, they're going to give them a higher calorie intake than they should, because they think their lean body mass is higher than it should be. Okay, so just something to throw out there. You want to find a good, accurate method of body fat testing, or someone who's good at testing. That's even harder to find. And make sure you get your body fat tested and weight taken at the same time, not 1 week before, not 6 months before. Same day you get your body fat, get your weight and your body fat tested, and figure out your calories from there. All right, last but definitely not least, because this is probably the biggest mistake that people make once they get into a weight loss program, that would be adjusting their calorie and macro intake once they've lost some weight. So what it is, so again, let's just use the example. So let's say somebody lost 20, 30 pounds on 2,000 calories. Okay. So what they think is, again, that with that body trying to survive, is trying to fight against you losing weight by slowing down your metabolism, whatever. I went over that a little bit earlier in this video. Slowing down your metabolism, making you want to eat more by binging, turning up your hunger, turning down your satiety, or that hormone in your body that says I've had enough, turning that down. You'll eat more, various things there. So what ends up happening anyway, the body making the adjustment to your metabolism, or the body making the adjustment to your new weight, okay, that's going to cause a plateau. So you're going to be stuck. So once you reassess that, get your body fat tested and things like that, you check and see where the new you is at, okay, and that may need you to lose, in order to lose weight, to drop your calories again. Now, it doesn't always have to be a 500 calorie drop. It can be as little as 200, but you may need to adjust and drop your calories again. Or the flip side to this is, remember, a calorie deficit can be created by either eating less or exercising more. Okay, so it could call for a little bit of an increase in your activity so you can keep those fat loss efforts going. So you need to check them. I like to have them checked every month, maybe 6 weeks tops. But a lot of people, again, they don't like facing that. That messes up their mental. So in that case, I might make it every 6 weeks. But 4 to 6 weeks, you want to be testing your body fat, taking your weight, testing your body fat, and reassessing where you're at in terms of weight loss. Okay, are you still losing weight? Okay, you may not want to be changing that. Has it stopped? Okay, then it might be time to make a choice: more activity or less food. Okay, which one of those are you going to choose? Okay, so if you guys have any questions or anything like that, again, I have programs and courses, subscription courses available to where you can help you create programs for yourself, so you can work around some of these, break these plateaus and fitness goals, and get the body that you want. So if you have a question, definitely comment below, drop me a message, or